Welcome to Show-Off Showdown! In this series, the fighters are called Show-Offs, and this is the series for the Show-Off Showdown! Now let's meet the Show-Offs for tonight's showdown, shall we? Tonight, we have a dark, hardcore cat fight between Black Panther versus Trap Shadow! Yep, it's another Skylanders fight. I'll say this much, these cats have claws, and now they're about to come out! I put links to the analysis on both characters in the description below. Now without further ado, it's time for the Show-Off to Showdown!
Get ready for the next battle. Hide and seek.
Freeze! Who are you? And what brings you to Wakanda?
The name's Trap Shadow, and I was sent here by Master Eon in search for a unique source of power unlike any other.
I do not know of this Eon, and whatever this power source is, you will not find it here. Now, as King of Wakanda, I command you to leave at once!
My mistake, and my apologies, Your Highness. Perhaps I'll go look somewhere else. Maybe Master Eon was wrong. Maybe that hoard of vibranium isn't here after all.
Vibranium? You've come to steal the treasures of my people! Now you shall face the wrath of the Black Panther! You will pay for the shame you brought upon us!
Well, I didn't want to do this, but you've asked for it.
Fight!
Well, looks like cats don't have 9 lives after all.
Now let's discuss how and why Black Panther wins this showdown. Now usually I would start off with who is more skilled and experienced, but I think we already know the answer to that, don't we? So instead of just regurgitating the same old information into your ears, I'm gonna replace that part with an interesting fact about Trap Shadow that he has in common with Black Panther. Believe it or not, Trap Shadow is the most respected member of a tribe of hunters who live in a remote hidden area of Skylands. Sounds familiar, right? Now, if you still want to discuss experience, I'll just say this. Trap Shadow might have a lot more experience, but is pretty much useless due to the Black Panther's past life connection. Now, as for skill, well, Trap Shadow is very skilled in his own right, especially when it comes to stealth tactics and trapping just about anything. But on the other hand, the fact that Black Panther has mastered just about every single form of martial arts, it's pretty hard to compete with that level of fighting skill. Enough said. Now let's discuss speed. Now the Black Panther and Trap Shadow are both capable of casually dodging fast-moving projectiles such as bullets, although Black Panther has shown much more consistent speed feats than Trap Shadow has. Not to mention, I think it is worth noting that the Black Panther is fast enough to catch Spider-Man wearing the symbiote suit, which is really not as easy as it sounds. Now while it is true that Trap Shadow's enhanced senses would allow him to detect Black Panther from miles away, that doesn't change the fact that the Black Panther is definitely fast enough to keep up with Trap Shadow and maybe even outpace him in the process. Now it is true that Trap Shadow could possibly be faster if he swapped his bottom half with either Freeze Blade or Magna Charge, but because this battle has no prep time, no outside help, and is just a one-on-one, that ain't happening. Now let's discuss strength. Now while Trap Shadow is fairly strong in his own right, being able to take on foes much larger and more physically imposing than himself, but obviously Black Panther can do the same. In fact, Black Panther has proven to be strong enough to knock out Manape, who can lift at least 10 tons. I think that feat alone is enough to tell who's physically stronger. Now let's discuss durability. Now believe it or not, Trap Shadow actually has very impressive durability. His greatest feat of durability was the time he and his SWAFF brothers all survived being in the epicenter of an active volcano during a massive volcanic eruption. And that was no ordinary volcano. It was the Mount Cloudbreak volcano, which was said to have 100 years of magic building up inside it during the eruption. Not only did they all survive the massive magical eruption, but the resulting magical effects from the eruption gave them all the ability to swap their upper and lower body parts, transforming them into the Swap Force. Now because the Cloudbreak volcano was said to be the most powerful volcano in all of Skylands, we could scale this to one of the most powerful volcanic eruptions in Earth's history, aka the Krakatoa Eruption, which has been estimated to be the equivalent of 200 megatons of TNT. That's about 13,000 times the nuclear yield of the little boy atomic bomb that devastated Hiroshima in World War II. Surviving something like that is some very impressive durability right there. But can it compare to Black Panther? Well, let's find out. Now, as we all know, the Black Panther suit is made of vibranium, which is capable of absorbing vibrations and kinetic energy. The more it absorbs, the tougher it becomes. In fact, the suit is even tough enough to withstand attacks from Stardust, a herald of Galactus. Now the suit also possesses a few other features, which now leads me to weapons, powers, and abilities. As most of us know, Black Panther possesses superhuman physicality, has enhanced senses, and can see infrared light in the dark. Not only that, but he is one of the most intelligent people in the Marvel Universe, and he has a very wide variety of weapons and equipment in his arsenal. But instead of going through all of them, I'll just go through what he and Trap Shadow have in common. As most of us know, these cats have claws, and they aren't afraid to use them. Black Panther has anti-metal claws capable of destabilizing and breaking down just about any metal, and they can cut through just about anything, including secondary adamantium. Now while Trap Shadow has a sharp pair of claws of his own, his signature weapons are actually his magical bear traps, which are capable of latching onto and ensnaring just about anything that touches or comes near it. And not to mention, it eventually explodes while latched onto enemies. Anyway, Black Panther also has a cloaking device which can turn himself invisible, and Trap Shadow can do the exact same thing. In fact, while invisible, Trap Shadow can prowl and magically damage any foe just by touching them. Not to mention, he can also kick waves of magical shadows and leave magical paw prints on the ground that damage foes who step on them. Now you're probably thinking that Black Panther's vibranium suit can easily tank or absorb anything Trap Shadow has to throw at him. Well, that would be the case if Trap Shadow had normal claws and his traps were made of metal. But believe it or not, both Trap Shadow's claws and traps are actually purely made of magic. So therefore, the real question for this debate would be, could the vibranium suit withstand magic attacks? Now, this question wasn't very easy to answer, but after enough in-depth analysis, I've learned that the vibranium suit is capable of withstanding attacks from Dr. Doom, who is a master of both science and magic. So I think we can safely say the answer is yes. So because the vibranium suit can withstand magic attacks, it essentially nullifies pretty much anything Trap Shadow has to throw at it. Now, the last thing I'd like to discuss is Feats and Potential. Now, as most of us may know, Feats and Potential are two very different things. Now, Trap Shadow does have a lot of potential. In fact, according to his backstory, Trap Shadow was said to be potentially powerful enough to capture Master Eon himself, which is really saying something. However, while Trap Shadow may have great potential, but sadly, he doesn't have a lot of confirmed feats to back him up. Now, exactly what are his very few feats he has achieved, you may ask? Well, from what I know, Trap Shadow has ensnared a group of evil wizards, saved Master Eon, fought off Servants of the Darkness alongside his Swap Force brothers, and even defeated super evil Chaos, whose body was infused with petrified darkness, aka Evilizer crystals. While this may seem impressive, but other than that, Trap Shadow doesn't seem to have any other confirmed feats worth noting. While on the other hand, Black Panther has plenty of feats to work with, some of which might arguably be greater than Trap Shadow's. Now, in conclusion, while Trap Shadow is definitely one tough kitty to put down, the vibranium claws are definitely enough to rip him a new one. I think I've said enough. Now, I could just end this with a bad cat related pun, but instead, I'll just quote something from William Shakespeare. So in the end, life is but a walking shadow. The winner of this battle is Black Panther. Now, if you want to see Black Panther take on another feline-themed Skylander, such as Wildfire, then let me know in the comments below. Would Wildfire's Traptanium shield be able to counter the vibranium suit? Well, who knows? Like I said, if you want to see it happen, let me know in the comments below, and we'll see what happens in the future. Now stay tuned as I reveal the next fighters.
Next time on Show-Off Showdown!
Surprise! You know, Bats, I always thought there was a spark between us. Well, now there is. I know, you're shocked. Come and get me, Bats. I double dare ya.
Got any ideas for Show-Off Showdown? Then let me know in the comments below, and hopefully, I just might do them. Now stay tuned for the next episode of Show-Off Showdown!